This short video is about the effect of incarceration on women as a form of revictimisation. The criminal justice and prison systems are often experienced by women who enter into the systems as perpetrators of additional harm, particularly on women who are vulnerable due to mental illness, mothering, and race. And I'll put the statistics in another video. However, the particular issues that come up for women in prison can include the continuation of what feels like abuse dynamics through mechanisms of physical and mental control and domination. Much intimate partner violence and intimate partner abuse manifests as attempts to seek control over a partner and to deprive them of autonomy. And considering that a high majority of women in prison have reported having abusive partners. In fact, almost all women in prison have experienced violence as adults, 98%. The experience of prison may feel like merely a continuation of the domination and abuse and degradation that they may have suffered outside of prison. For Indigenous women, prison often is also experienced as a continuation of colonisation, that process that removed women from their land, families, and histories, and now they're being locked up and removed further from their land and family. There's some real questions, as those of you who are doing criminology may know, about whether incarceration is effective at either reducing crime generally or reducing recidivism for individual prisoners. The issue for many women in prison is that while many are first offenders and comparatively few reoffend, many of the offences are actually offences of poverty. Women are overrepresented in petty financial crime in prison compared to men in prison, more of whom are in prison for violence offences. Where women have been in prison for things such as Centrelink fraud, the question may be whether imprisonment is an appropriate response to acts of desperation or poverty. Other women may be in jail, and there's often been reports by police and others looking at women who are jailed because they have complied with instructions from partners, often abusive partners, who require them to act as runners or facilitators for drug offences. And again, in those circumstances, while incarceration may be effective, there may be more effective responses, such as assistance to be able to get away from abusive partners and intimate partner violence and find safety. There is, as I've said in another video, a massive impact on women in jail as mothers, and many actually, again, find this to be a particularly harmful and traumatic experience to have their parenting interrupted by the prison sentence. And the impact on transgender women can be quite enormous, as I've mentioned in another video. Researchers have stated that the prison itself can become an institutional manifestation of women's powerlessness and vulnerability. And for girl and women prisoners, the threat of violence and violation within the outside community remains significant in their experiences of prison. As I've mentioned in another video, the rates of sexual assault of female prisoners, often by male guards, is surprisingly high compared to rates of assault of male prisoners by staff. And women often experience sexual assault, physical assault, and even things such as strip searching can be incredibly traumatic for someone who has previously suffered sexual abuse. And as you would have seen in our in another video, the statistics video, the vast majority of women in jail have suffered sexual abuse previously. Stratton and Moore also continued that prisons are essentially places of deprivation in which rights and needs are redefined as privileges to be earned through compliance and conformity, an experience which mirrors many women's experience of abuse and intimate partner violence or earlier family violence. So once again, it would seem that based on statistics around mental illness and victimisation of many women who end in prison, there may be more effective ways to reduce women's offending than simple incarceration.